Welcome to Module 4, Tips and Tricks. So in these lessons, we're going to discuss the importance of following these basic, guidelines and rules for stand-up comedy. These things, if you don't do correctly, you just will not get the laughs you should be getting. And it can make a huge difference. I've seen performers just find those little tips and tricks and change their act a little bit, and their performance has gone from a 7 to a 9 out of 10. So it can make a huge difference just following these little tips and tricks. So see you in the next lesson. In this lesson, we're going to discuss mic technique. So we've got Jamal here.
Hello, Johnny.
Jamal's our sound tech. He's been with us for 4 years. He's currently doing his master's in audio. So he knows a thing or two about sound. And I wanted to get the perspective of the audio guy, as well as a stand-up comedian's point of view of the importance of good mic technique. So I'll demonstrate for you the way I use a microphone, and then we'll get Jamal to give us his point of view and explain some of the downsides of bad mic technique and why it's such a problem in the comedy industry. So, for me personally, I'm always a little worried that I've got the mic in the right position. So to know where it is, I'll usually touch it on my chin, and then from that point, I just go forward slightly. So I like to keep the microphone about 2 fingers away from my mouth. Okay, slightly pointed at an angle, so it doesn't sound good to be talking over the top of the microphone. It's better to be talking into the microphone. So I have it around here, and then I carry on and do my stand-up. I don't do stand-up anymore as well, by the way, so don't expect jokes. So what can happen, and another problem with mic technique is that as a comedian gets into his routine and his confidence is up, his shoulders drop and he gets more relaxed, which is a good thing for performance. But what happens often is, as his shoulders get more relaxed, he'll lower the microphone, and to the point it will end up somewhere down here. And Jamal will explain in a moment, but why that is a no-no as regards to stand-up comedy and mic technique. So what we'll do now, I'll just hand over to Jamal. So here you go, Jamal. You give us your expertise on the mic technique.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Johnny. I'm Jamal. I am the sound tech at the Comedy Lounge, have been for the past few years. In regards to everything John said about the microphone technique, the basics of it, I completely agree. I have nothing else to add. The microphone should be as close to your mouth as possible, slightly angled, so the direction is towards your mouth. Some people do this, and you actually, even though it's close, miss a lot of the volume coming from your voice. At your level as a comic, the main thing that you should be focusing on in regards to the technique, microphone technique, is being on it. So don't worry about being too loud at this point. That is the job for someone like me or the sound tech at any venue where you're performing to turn you down. We can always turn you down. We struggle to turn you up. It can happen, but you never want us to be relied on for turning you up. The main reason is if your microphone's down here and obviously your voice is not traveling to the microphone through the air, I will have to artificially make it louder through the speakers at a venue. The only problem with that is I make the microphone louder, the microphone picks up the speakers, creating that really terrible noise, high-pitched noise we know as feedback. So I cannot stress how important it is for everyone in a show format that you have good microphone technique. If the sound guy isn't worried about your performance, you can sound the best. You also get more bookings because we'll never have to worry about the idea of you not sounding good or having bad technique, which is really annoying for every sound guy to always tell you.
Yeah, so what I'd like you to do now is to get comfortable with a microphone, holding the microphone when you're rehearsing in the mirror or when you're record your performances, and make sure that you are keeping on the mic. It's so important. Just make sure you always got that microphone there. And you'll notice yourself there'll be times during the performance when perhaps you will relax a little bit too much and it will drop down. And just remember that's a habit that you're going to get into. To keep right on the mic. You can have a hairbrush; it doesn't matter. But I mean, most people can afford a microphone. So practice. It's such an important component of getting good mic technique. It doesn't normally come naturally. And as Jamal said, it's such an important thing. No sound guys like a comedian with bad mic technique. Okay, I hope that all.
I can second that.
Yeah. We're just going to go to the stage now, so we can demonstrate what we've just discussed, the mic technique, and a few of the other stuff surrounding the microphone and the use of the microphone. So we'll see you on the stage. I'm demonstrating now with a live microphone. As you can see, the microphone is around about 2 to 3 fingers away from my lips. It's at roughly 45-degree angle. I'm now going to go off the microphone. I'm going to keep talking and I'm going to say the same sentence. So, my name's John McAllister and I'm the director of the Comedy Lounge. My name's John McAllister and I'm the director of the Comedy Lounge. So I'm hoping that you will realise there's a big difference between off the mic and on the mic. Another problem that sometimes happens when a comedian's on stage and delivering jokes is they would often be holding the microphone at this point there, just where the cable joins the microphone. And that can loosen the connection, and that is a problem. So it might get some crackling. So just if that does happen, you hear any crackling, just hold the microphone firmly and just give it a push to make sure that it's connected well. Some venues, there will be a radio mic, so basically no cord. The same principles apply. Still have your mouth 2 or 3, fingers away from the microphone. But what you have to be careful of in that instance is some radio mics have mute buttons or on-off buttons. And if you're not careful, just watch you're not turning buttons on and off with the microphone, because that has often happened and it's pretty annoying for the audience. Suddenly the mic's turned off. So get used to the microphone. Look out for any buttons on there. Check perhaps before you even go on stage what sort of microphone it is and what to expect, because you'd be surprised how many comedians will mute a radio microphone. If you can, get to the venue a bit early and see if you can test the microphone, test the mic stands, just familiarise yourself with the situation at that particular venue. So you're not just going in there sight unseen. It's good to know in advance so that you're familiar with what you're dealing with. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the mic stand and what to do with the mic stand. So typically, I'd say the vast majority of comedians would come on stage and take the microphone out of the stand and walk around delivering their jokes. Some people would, as I am now, just get behind the microphone and start delivering their jokes. Their hands are free. The good thing about that is your hands are free to sort of demonstrate the your jokes or overemphasize, hand movements and things like that. But typically, most people will normally take it out the stand. Another thing to remember, if you are going to stand behind the microphone like this, it's important to get it at the right height. So I've checked that in advance, and that's pretty much at the right height for me. I'm 2 or 3 fingers away from it. I'm right on the microphone. Okay, it's not uncommon for a new act to not understand how to even adjust a mic stand. So this is what typically might happen. So they'll come out, and when they come out onto stage, it'll be like that, something like that. It'll be way too high for them, and they'll be like, they come out on stage and they're stretching like that, trying to perform to it, or even it's down here too much, and they just don't know how to adjust it. So familiarise yourself with the equipment, learn how to adjust your mic stand, get it to the right position before you start your routine. Don't do it during the routine. Okay, so what more commonly happens, as I mentioned before, is people would move the mic stand. Because if you're going to perform and you don't move the stand, it's a barrier, really. It looks awkward. if you are going to move the stand, then what you normally do, or what you do, is you take the mic out the stand, you check there's no obvious wraparound cables around it. If it's a cable microphone, you move the mic stand to one side and you start and deliver your jokes. You finish your performance. As you're finishing your performance, it's better at that point. You know you've got about 5 or 10 seconds before you actually finish. So the best time then, rather than finish your performance and then wander off aimlessly afterwards and then get the mic stand and put it back, it's best to, as you're finishing your last joke, you'll just move over, pick up the mic stand, bring it back to the center, ready for the MC to come back on stage, and then thanks guys, and it's been a pleasure, thanks and good night. Put it back in there, walk off. Okay. If you don't do that, well, what happens is, I'll just briefly demonstrate what it's like if you don't do that. So there you go, your mic stands over there, you're delivering your jokes, and it's thanks guys, I really appreciate it, thanks for laughing, I'll see you another time, my name's John McAllister. And as you can see, that's an awkward silence and a real bit of awkward time. So just do it that way around. It looks a lot more professional. We're going to talk about stagecraft. Coming onto the stage, talking to the audience, addressing different parts of the audience, and where to position yourself on the stage and staying in the light. Okay. So typically when you come onto the stage, an MC would be bringing you on, and I'll demonstrate. So the MC would then be, you'd be behind this curtain or in a room backstage somewhere or another. In this instance, you'd be behind the curtain, and the MC would say, welcome onto the stage, your first act for this evening, John McAllister. Then the music plays, there's a sting playing, and at that point, you come onto the stage, okay? And you walk towards the mic stand, take the microphone out the stand. What you don't want to do is, as the MC introduces you, start coming onto the stage, and then you get 3/4 of the way to the mic stand and then the music plays. That's really very awkward. So don't do that. Wait for the music. Okay, so then the music's playing, you walk towards the stand. Okay, the microphone will be in it. You decide your typical act. What you would do is you want to take the microphone out of the stand. So you take it out of the stand, you move the microphone to one side, you position yourself at the right position, I would say around about 1 meter from the front of the stage. What you don't want to do is position yourself right at the back. It makes you look nervous and as if you don't want to be there, and you're trying to create as big a barrier between you and the audience. So you don't want that. You want to engage the audience. You don't want to be in the crowd, literally in there, but you want to be at a point where you can see the audience and they can see you look confident. Okay, when you deliver your jokes, it's best to work to all different parts of the room. It's certainly no point in just staring at one individual. It doesn't look right. So you deliver your jokes to this part, to that part, there, over to the side, and you work the whole room basically. So what you're trying to do there is engage the whole audience in your performance, so they all feel engaged and special. That's what it's all about. Okay, so you finished your performance. So at this stage, what you then do, you're just about to do your last joke. You go over to the mic stand, take the mic stand back, position it where it was before, place the microphone back in the stand. Thanks and good night. Off you go. So, yeah, I'd like to demonstrate now that the importance of staying in the light. Obviously, you need to be heard, but you also need to be seen. You certainly don't want to be delivering your jokes from the sides in the shadows, in the darkness. Okay, so when you, most venues will have a spotlight. Some will have lots of lights, a wash where you're safe. You can wander around the stage anywhere you like and you're still in light. But typically a lot of smaller venues would have a one light. So you'd be in one spotlight. So in this instance, I'll demonstrate. We've just got one light going and you will see. So I'm in the light now and I can be seen by the audience and I can be heard. And then as time, and what happens is I'm now moving out of the light, and you should be able to notice that I'm more or less in the darkness now. I can be heard. You can't certainly see any facial expressions or anything that I might be doing to add some emphasis to my jokes. So make sure you're always in the light. The best way to know that you're in the light is you're blinded. The light is very blinding. The minute you're not blinded and you can see the audience, it's safe to say you're not in the light. That's a good indicator. So I can now see the audience, but I don't think they wouldn't be able to see me. So always make sure you're on the mic. Always make sure you're in the light. Okay? Thanks. I'll see you in the next lesson.